It is my belief that every young professional can be empowered to take hold of and master their own finances to achieve their life, career, and freedom goals. But there is no success within personal finance without being organized and aware of your financial situation. However, often that is not enough. If you don't have the right foundation on which to take action, you may never achieve the financial freedom or peace within your financial world that you desire. So in this video series that I am starting, I'm going to share with you my take on the 4 basic keys of personal finance for the young professional today. Colleagues, welcome back. On this channel, we aim to serve as an informative resource that empowers professionals with their life, career, personal finance, and freedom. Today, we will cover the first basic key of personal finance for the young professional. But to start this series, I want to first introduce the 4 basic keys. The first key is knowing your big rocks and goals. The second is budgeting and/or cash flow planning. The third is managing and eliminating debt. And the fourth is saving and investing. While the first and second, in my humble opinion, are in rank order of importance, the third and fourth basic keys can change in their order of importance based on the situation. Nevertheless, what we are talking about today is the most important basic key for personal finance. Key number 1, know your big rocks and goals. And full disclosure, with this series, at first, I didn't really know where to start. Exactly how does one really go about unifying the broad and subjective concepts of a person's professional and personal life desires with the often narrow and largely objective concepts of quantitative financial principles? Obviously, these concepts are somehow related to each other as they deal with the fundamental tug-of-war between the strong, visceral yearnings of an individual's personal needs versus the cold hard truths facing them each day in the form of the limits of their personal bank account. But how do they really fit into the bigger picture relative to each other? Luckily, I stumbled on a video that helped set the foundation for me. And this video talked about the concept of time management.
There's a well-known story about a university professor who wanted to make a point about how we make the most of our time. The professor stood before his class with some items in front of him. When the class began, without speaking, he picked up a large, empty jar and proceeded to fill it with rocks about 2 inches in diameter. He then asked the students if the jar was full. They agreed that it was full. So the professor then picked up a box of pebbles and poured them into the jar. He shook the jar lightly and watched as the pebbles rolled into the open areas between the rocks. The professor then asked the students again if the jar was full. They chuckled and agreed that it was indeed full this time. The professor picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar. The sand filled the remaining open areas of the jar. Now, said the professor, I want you to recognize that this jar signifies your life.
Now, from this short clip, I realized that from the very foundation, we need to start with the very basics for life. The big rocks, as I would put them, include the basics, which everyone needs, like food, water, and shelter. Also, security of mind and body, as well as security of family, of health, and of relationships, as well as, in the context of this video, security of resources, which is often where personal finance is found. And as the video puts it,
the rocks are the truly important things, such as family, health, and relationships. If all else was lost and only the rocks remained, your life would still be meaningful.
Moving even further, you likely need familiar or group acceptance, along with platonic and romantic intimacy. Also, you could add to that a sense of connection and friendship as being very vital. If you continue on that path, you might desire or want academic or professional achievement, self-confidence in your actions, respect of your peers, as well as personal freedom.
The pebbles are the other things that matter in your life, such as work or school.
Lastly, to the sand, which signifies the remaining smaller stuff, which may be specific material possessions, creativity, morality, spontaneity, and other items that aren't as foundational to your life. The thing to remember is that though each of these have value, they must be viewed and prioritized in a certain order based on your personal life, big rocks, and goals. For instance, if you know you value health and relationships, your security of mind, as well as your professional achievement and material possessions in that order, but you were to prioritize putting the sand in the jar of life first, i.e. material possessions or professional achievement, you may not have the space, time, or energy for the big rocks of, say, security of mind, relationships, and your health, which are what are truly important to you. Or as the video puts it,
if you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are truly important. Pay attention to the things in life that are critical to your happiness and well-being. Take care of the rocks first. The things that really matter. Set your priorities. The rest is just pebbles and sand.
And as I thought about this further, if we bring all these parts together, we eventually end up with something resembling Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a fairly simple concept, but very effective at showing what things people need and in what order. Using this extension of Maslow's hierarchy as an intellectual foundation to build on, you arrive at the conclusion that once you understand your basic needs, we can then map on strategies to fulfill those needs. This is what sets the basis for why key number 1, knowing your big rocks and goals, is the most important key. When you know your priorities and have a target, it really establishes and solidifies your foundation and makes it easy to move forward. Not only that, it allows you the freedom to no longer feel the need to justify your life choices and financial decisions, but rather to integrate them. Put simply, knowing your big rocks provides the roadmap for you to prioritize, while knowing your goals allows you to take action to fulfill those priorities accordingly. So, ask yourself, what do you need and why? This question will allow you to start to identify your personal big rocks and goals. Then you can more easily weigh conflicting decisions in your personal finance life and basically make sure it is aligned with your big rocks, your priorities and goals, which should be informed by the next 3 personal finance keys, which I will cover in later videos. So I hope you gained something useful from this first installment in the series. There is a link to the original Big Rocks video in the description below. I'd actually love to hear your comments below about what your big rocks are and how you plan to live them out in your financial life. Also, subscribe to make sure you catch the next installment and for more videos like this one. I wish you all the best on your own personal finance journeys. Have a great rest of your week. Later, colleagues.